Hey guys, this is Carrie.
And I'm Casey.
Today we are doing questions and answers while we're talking about them. Anyway, so Casey and I get a bunch of emails and texts and also Facebook messages, Instagram messages about what it's like to be a psychic medium, a demonologist, what's in their house, and so forth. We're going to cover a couple of those topics today on questions and answers. We've got 5 questions and answers for you. Thank you, viewers who write in to ask us these questions. We're going to lay some of that stuff out for you here today. Thanks for watching.
Thank you, everybody. All right. So, our first question that we got from one of our viewers is, how do you know if entities in your house are friendly or dark? That's a very good question.
That is a huge question there. Well, that one took a little bit of dissection to go through too. It's not as simple of an answer as the question is, but we're going to lay it out in a little bit more simple forms here. How can you know if it's light or dark? I'm going to be honest, for me, I don't trust anything at all at first, ever. It takes a bit for me to get into, even if it's a family member, a guide or something like that is really watching and has best intentions for me. I don't trust anything, not at all. I'm going to go to my meditations and I'm going to put my protections meditations down before anything. We're going to put a link up top so you can see what that meditation is. If you're not aware of it, you need to be doing it daily throughout the day. I do a lot of meditations, a lot of talking with guides, and over time to be able to examine what this is. The higher ups, they're not going to do any weird shenanigans with me. They want love and light, and because of my own vibrations, it demands the same thing too. Trickery is something we're easy to get in and out of, but in this sort of situation, you want to make sure that you are completely out of it. Casey, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that's very, very, very right. And light entities, things of good vibrations and high vibrations are not going to want to scare you.
No.
And if they do find that they can present themselves, they're going to do it very slowly and very kind of gently. Thank you. Yes.
With your
Whereas,
highest intentions.
The demonic or the dark entities, they don't care. They may start out slow and make things benign and have things just seem kind of little things at first, but eventually their whole goal is to scare you and drive off you and your fear. That's how we do that. So light ones are not going to want to scare you or freak you out any kind of way.
Yeah, and with that too, it's like when dark ones, especially they can come out like they're all nice at first. And a lot of times we'll be like, okay, well, they wouldn't know the truth if they were dark. And that is far from the truth. They will present actually the opposite, a whole lot of truth and a whole lot of kindness at first. But you have to be really, really discerning. And if you are at the point of where you're asking this question, it is really important for you to lay your protections down first, because discernment is really obviously just brand new to you, which is great. But you need to get your discernments down too. And we have a video for that as well that we're going to post up with that for you.
Yeah. And you want to be careful too how much attention that you give this kind of entity or what you may be dealing with. Because if you give the wrong thing too much attention, too much of your time, and it wears on your psyche and on your mind and your emotions, and that's kind of the start of the trap. So you got to be very careful on how much attention that you give these things, and lay down some serious boundaries and protections, like Carrie was saying.
Yeah, so what Casey was saying there, that's how you decide between light and dark, is a ton of discernment. And that takes time. So don't be trusting at first. You need to follow the proper steps to get to the right answers.
Yeah. I mean, I can speak as a first-hand witness of how that trickery works and how it starts off very little and stuff like that. But yeah, so be careful.
I grew up in a house of all sorts. My background on that too is I was raised in all of this, and both a ton of dark and a ton of light. So I've had an entire lifetime for discernment too. That doesn't mean that I'm perfect. I'm constantly working on this. So always room for improvement.
All right. Our next question from a viewer is, if a home has a dark past like a murder or crime, death, dark magic, would there be a dark negative spirits in that home by default? Or can you change the vibrations in that house to one of light and love? And if you can, how? This is a very good question. Thank you, viewer, for that question.
Yeah, that's a gigantic one. And it also, with the answer that it really, there's so many different layers to this, and this is something.
Oh, isn't that the truth?
I feel like we really need to separate that topic all into a separate segment, but we're going to just touch a little bit on it here today in this part.
Because there's a lot of factors and a lot of variations that come into play in this.
Right. But this is just a quick synopsis just to help you get through this. Because there are a lot of people that are moving into new places, moving in with people, doing changes in their life, and you need to be able to know what to do. So the big thing is to understand that all homes, all places, all spaces have their own levels of vibrations, especially in apartments or buildings of old history, because it has so many different people that have come in and out and share space with them in that energy, that area of space. So when that happens, you need to take into consideration that you are entering a space that already has a bunch of history. It is really, really important for you to make sure that you lay your bounds down within that property that you live. So for example, if there is something that has happened in that area, there's going to be ways that when you go into that space that you understand that there's something yuck going on there. If you decide to still move into it, to understand that you really need to make sure that that area is cleaned, is cleansed spiritually, as well as you are taking dominance in that area, and also raising the vibrations. But it takes a lot of work, and I'm going to let Casey fill in on this topic too, because it is so heavily layered.
It's not a for sure thing that something is just going to automatically be there by default.
Mm-hmm.
There's, like we were saying earlier, there's a lot of factors and variations that go into that, but as far as the crimes go, a lot of it depends on how heinous and how brutal it was. The nastier stuff tends to attract the demonic even more, and you open yourself, or I should say a person who is committing these crimes opens themselves up and invites that kind of attention from the demonic when they partake in these activities. The chances are higher that there's probably going to be something lingering, but this does not mean that it's a demonic entity. It could be trauma from the victim. It could be the victim that's been left behind, or, another family member, or if the person was killed, and even the person who did the crime could be there too. So you could have a lot of factors as far as like, the victim or the perpetrator, or if there was some kind of summonings done or something like that. And then that didn't even talk about the history of the grounds prior to that.
Right.
So,
and that's why I was talking about going in and make sure that you're doing cleansing and stuff while you're moving in and really dominating that space with your own high vibrations. So yeah, in that area, there's no guarantee that there is going to be negative activities going on. However, it's very likely because of the state of the house, especially with its history of what specifically that frequency of vibration that's left within the house. So the other part too is because of that, you can have families that activity doesn't happen when there was prior negative activities that happened in that house. For example, if somebody was murdered, and the next family moves in, doesn't know that, nothing has happened. And then a family after that moves in, and all of a sudden there's activity. The vibrations change. There's different reasons why the activity could spark. So you may not have known that that activity was there before as far as spiritual negative entities, but there's different triggers for it too. So it's not a guarantee that there is or is not negative entities residing in there, or residues that fill that house as well. It's just really important that you follow the proper practices while moving in. making sure your vibrations are as high as they can be. If you're feeling down, to make sure that you are filling that house with positive energy, that the members of your house are also on the same team with you for that as well, to keep and maintain high vibrations within that house. So while it's not a guarantee that there's negative stuff in there, if everybody in the household is all on the same page, even if there was negative entities, it could still be canceled out. So that's where I stand.
And then as a part of that question, can the vibrations of that environment be changed? This is another kind of iffy one, but the answer really is yes and no.
Yes and no.
A lot of it depends on how intense the vibrations are there. How rooted is it in that grounds? You know, how many demonic entities are there? I mean, are there some severe portals that are like super highways? I mean, so there's a lot of factors that go into that. But yes, I would say you have a very good, strong possibility of changing the vibrations. But there are just some places that reside on this planet that are cursed, and it's insurmountable, really, to try and change the vibrations in some places, because it's just the negative energy is just too thick. It's too rooted. It would take a serious miracle and a lot of people to come prey on one place, and do a lot of light work. So
yeah, all day long, every single day, all year long, ongoing years, infinite amount of time. That's difficult. Yeah, just be sure that when you are going into new places that you feel what those areas are like before you move in. We will be doing a segment on that, but really truly go into the area and feel. How does it feel? Is it positive? Is it negative? Does it give you the creeps? Did you get a headache when you were in there? Does it make you feel nauseated? Are you excited? Are you inspired? You know, how do you feel in there? And truly, that's a one time to go off of your feelings. If you're going to purchase something or move into a new space, that you're going to invest your time where you rest in all of your personal surroundings, yourself, and leave your own residues, you need to make sure that it's good for you. But with that too, no matter where you move, you always need to move in and do some cleansings no matter what. That way you're taking dominion over the entire area. That way you're going in and saying, look, I claim this space is mine, I'm filling it with positive, here I am, out anything disgusting. Anything beyond that too, truly, that's what we're here for too. Give us a call, get a hold of us too. We do the real tough cleansings that you should never, ever, ever attempt yourself. In certain degrees. Again, that's layered as well. Certain clearings, yes, of course, you can do yourself. But the heavier stuff, that's what I'm talking about.
Like, would we try and go clear the Amity house? No.
That's a place too, like if you're just moving into some house like that and you didn't know the history of the place, granted, like I was saying earlier, a family can move in and have no activity within that house, and then have a family after that move in and have just everything ripped apart for them. That has its own reason. So because there's no guarantee on that, you don't want to take chances with it too. But I'll tell you, places like that are haunted and that really feel yuck, if you have the opportunity, you probably don't want to stay there very long. Just saying. Next question.
All right. If a dark entity is attached to an adult, how sick can they make a person?
Well, the word attached is something that is another layered word, but that kind of goes into the area of, does a dark energy share space with you? And we talk all the time about what to do when that happens. Can it make you sick? Heck yeah. Beyond belief. In fact, it can bring up diseases that you have dormant in your body that normally you would have never had this disease come up. that dark entity can absolutely trigger it, especially if it's demonic. Yes, you can get cancer out of nowhere. That's not where mine came from, but absolutely, it can cause death. It can cause all sorts of psychological issues. What were you gonna say, Ben?
Yeah, I was gonna say the demonic force is literally like a vampire. They are life energy, soul-sucking individuals that feed off your life force and your life energy and your vibrations and everything that you are. So they can take the strongest man in the world and break this person down
And make them sick.
and make them sick and cry.
But at the same time, that does not mean that, the demonic wants absolutely nothing more than to destroy you. Nothing more than to break the strongest person down and make them cry. Absolutely. But at the same time, it's really important, again, to fill space with love and light.
Right.
Because of the part that just because it can make you sick doesn't mean that you can become unsick. It's just there's factors within that to take in the part. And it is really important to understand that while we're here on this earth, yes, horrible, demonic, disgusting things happen. But also, every single day that we wake up, every single day that we have a breath, we have purpose. And we have the opportunity to combat as well and to fill that space with love and light too. And to get unsick as well too. So just saying, even though unsick is not a word, love and light is super important because yes, you can get very sick.
Yeah, very sick, and death or possession is always the end game goal for these individuals.
Right, no thanks.
Yeah.
I choose no. I click the no thank you button. No thank you, no thank you, thank you.
So our next question we got from our viewer is, do those ghost detection apps really work, or is it all fake?
I'm going to be honest on that one. I don't use any of those apps at all. My thought on that is that an app on its own, I don't understand what the importance or significance of using something like that is, especially to look for ghosts. Go ahead and look for Pokemon, not ghosts. The detection on that, it sounds like a total no, absolutely not. There might be something that looks kind of cool in it, but no. But that also, what do you think, Jen?
I think there are. We watch the ghost shows, and we like to watch that too.
Yeah.
We like to watch it for entertainment.
True.
Because the real work is not being done, in our opinions, in the show. But that's regardless. Right. That's regardless of it. We're talking about the equipment.
Right.
So I see that the equipment can draw attention, and they use it for attracting energy and boosting energy towards entities in an effort to help them form or materialize or something like that. I've seen some equipment, I'm sorry I don't know what this stuff is called, but I've also seen some equipment that can display energy and can actually show you in a stick figure form.
Right.
When an entity is sitting beside you.
Right.
And I will actually reference a guy named Michael McGee.
Right.
If you get a chance and you don't know who Michael McGee is, this guy from the UK who's done some pretty phenomenal camera work, and he's got some really high-tech stuff and uses this equipment in a way that is very compelling. Mm-hmm. But you're not going to get solid answers, and you're probably not going to get the real answers that you're trying to get if you're using strictly this electronic equipment. Having a medium, having somebody that can actually speak and discern and get the answers from the questions that you're seeking, we think is very crucial and is something that is lacking in a lot of
those ghost shows.
Yes. I don't see how you can get an answer just strictly from a flashlight turning it on, or, you know, if you're asking a yes or no question or something that's a bit complex. I don't see how you're going to get it from a light buzzing on or something like that. It seems that a lot of conclusions are just drawn and kind of fitted to suit circumstances.
Right, especially expressions.
In my humble opinion.
Mine too. However, when it comes to phone apps, no.
Yeah.
No. I just don't get it. And plus, honestly, I'm a psychic medium. Why do I need an app for that? So, but for other people, you've not ever heard us recommend something like that, because in my opinion, I might be fun, but why?
Spirit boxes, I get why people are interested in doing those, and I see why people think it's a form of communication. However,
it's what it sucks in.
You don't know who you're talking to on the other end of that.
Yeah, it's like the Ouija board.
It is exactly like a Ouija board.
You'll get answers, but it's who is it from?
Yes.
Where's the discernment in it? For real.
So if you're encouraged or you want to participate using these kind of toys to get, 21 questions done from the other side, I would highly encourage a lot of caution and not to do something like that.
Yeah, the amount of training to really do that in a proper way is something that is not likely to happen by somebody who's just interested in seeing what something is about. You don't want to go on ghost hunts and things like that with equipment like this. If you do, it is a really good idea for you to bring a solid psychic medium with you and not just skip the equipment. You can bring something even cooler. A pad of paper and a pen. There's something called psychometry that does the trick. We'll talk about that in something else, but I'll tell you, it's a lot more effective than those ghost detection apps. I say absolutely not. No way.
For our next question from one of our viewers, they ask, can a person with abilities drain their own energy enough to cause accidental harm to themselves? Or if they don't know when to stop?
That's a solid question.
That is a solid question.
I'm going to say 1,000% yes, because I am even guilty of doing this to myself. And thank you that I have such an amazing partner who calls me out on my own crap. Sometimes, I do a lot of protections, meditations, and all sorts of clearings, but honestly, I'm a stubborn bitch. And sometimes I honestly can't stop punching myself in my own tits. So that is just how that is. And I really genuinely need somebody else's discernment, especially like his, because I will push myself way too far on accident to the point of where I will literally go into seizures. They're really pseudo seizures because it mimics the whole technical real seizures, but it is something that it's a form of when you hit the wall. You get extreme tiredness. I'm not talking about, oh my gosh, I'm tired, I haven't gone to bed yet. I'm talking the kind of tired of where you really should be hospitalized, that kind of tired. The other type of tired that I can think of is, I'm not even talking about a new baby tired. I would prefer new baby tired over this type of tired. This is a debilitating, can't think, can't move, you're in your own mind frame. Also, the amount of pain that it causes to you when you hit a wall like that from a psychic, basically it's a type of a psychic attack is what's happening. Yeah. And you're bringing it on because you did push it too far upon yourself. It takes practice. But yes, absolutely, you can get incredibly sick. It is important to know where your boundaries are, and don't be a dummy head like me and push those boundaries way too far all the time. Just don't. There's times where literally I I've done so many readings during the day. Then I'm going to go online and do more readings. And then I have all these back-to-back stuff while I'm still healing from surgeries and cancer. And I'll just be like, and it's before I'll be in the kitchen or something. And Casey will come up, he'll be like, you need to sit down. I'm like, what? What's the problem? And he goes, honey, let's go to the couch. And he'll get me all set up, and then there starts the seizures. So yes, absolutely. I feel like he is better discerning when, because I'm just so stubborn, and I do not recommend that mentality. Don't do it. It's unnecessary. So absolutely, but those protection meditations need to be put down all day long. And I find that too, when this happens to me, I've cheated. I'm not doing my protection meditations all day. I've only maybe done it once or twice, but I haven't done it enough during the day for what is required of me that day. So those meditations, those protection meditations need to be put down. Also, I personally need to, and you can find your own version, but I need to go through doing a cleansing of the house. I need to be centering. I need to be completely just one with the universe and keep myself in check to keep myself from doing something like that. When I don't, that's what happens.
Yes.
What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think that, yeah, it's absolutely possible to run yourself into the ground and it quickly.
Very quickly.
If you're not paying attention.
It's honestly like a flash flood. You can't get out of its way that's it. Absolutely.
Yeah.
So start some sandbagging. Keep yourself protected. So yeah, that's that. We want to thank you guys for checking in today. If you guys have questions for us, please get a hold of us. You know where. We've got some links below, and go ahead and select the like button, and we don't mind if you follow us. Thanks for joining us today. Love and light.
Love and light, people.
We'll see you next time.
Take care.
Bye.